This is the Masking Handbook for Audiometry. In this video, we're going to have a discussion on interaural attenuation and try to find out what exactly we know about attenuation. We'll review interaural attenuation for our three main transducers. We'll look at TDH style supraaural headphones. We'll look at insert earphones, and we'll look at our radio ear bone conductor. I've tried to find all the studies that have looked at the issue, so let's take a look. The ones that were chosen used test subjects who had at least a very severe hearing loss in one ear and pretty normal hearing in the other ear. There are other methods to study interaural attenuation, but this approach mirrors the typical clinical situation, so these were the ones chosen for this review. We'll start with TDH supraaural headphones. Just taking a brief look, we have the N value on the left column there. We see the second study has 256 subjects included. We should tip our hat to Jack Snyder from the early 1970s, who did this large-scale study on attenuation. So thank you, Dr. Snyder. We have the mean, median interaural attenuation values for TDH headphones in kind of the red and orange. And we have the minimum interaural attenuation values published from the studies. Those are the ones in the blue. For audiometry, we use the minimum possible attenuation. We'll call these the min-IA values to ensure that we look at the issue very aggressively. If we used mean or median values, there'd be many situations when we'd decide not to mask, but the test signals would be crossing over to the other side. And those would be for those subjects who'd have below average attenuation. Using min-IA means that we'll capture any and all situations where a test signal might cross to the non-test ear. We should keep in mind, though, that most of our subjects will have higher interaural attenuation than the min-IA values that we use. And here are the min-IA values pulled from the studies for TDH phones from each frequency. We can see that they range between 35 and 50 dB, depending on the frequency. Let's take a similar look at insert earphones. We can see that we have several studies. If we look at the number of subjects that have been researched for this topic, that we don't have the same robust numbers involved in our background research. Here are the average or median and min-IA values. Just a rough look at the information. We can see that the values are higher than they were for TDH headphones. Having higher attenuation overall will be beneficial to us as people who test hearing. So that's one of the good things about insert earphones. Here are the min-IA values for various frequencies using insert phones. We can see that the values range between 45 and 55 dB depending on the frequency. So overall, our min-IA values for insert earphones are about 10 dB higher than they were for the TDH style supraaural headphones. And just generally speaking, we see that TDH have lower min-IA values than the insert phones. Let's now move on to bone conduction, and we'll look at interaural attenuation. I found only 4 studies that looked at bone conduction attenuation that used our typical radio ear device and unilateral sensory neural hearing loss subjects. And here's a data plot showing the min-IA, mean or median IA values, and also our max IA values. So we can see that there are subjects who show quite high levels of attenuation when testing on the non-hearing ear compared to the hearing ear. You can see that the max IA values range somewhere between 25 and 40 dB. So that's quite a high level of attenuation. And some subjects do better when the bone conductor is placed on the non-hearing ear compared to when it's placed on the hearing side. Those are the min-IA values we see in blue at the bottom, showing negative attenuation results. I guess the bottom line is that, as we can see, there's a lot of variance with bone conduction interaural attenuation. And the value does not have to be 0 dB. In fact, it probably isn't. So why do we think of audiometry and bone conduction through the lens of bone conduction having 0 dB? Interaural attenuation, 0 dB interaural attenuation is actually a theoretical construct for us. This is the Masking Handbook for Audiometry. If you liked this video, you'll love the handbook. For more resources on masking and to learn how to purchase the book, check out maskinghandbook.com.